Hey guys, this is Kosti, and I'm here with Goran for the third and final match of group stages before we get to knockout rounds. Obviously, times are a little bit more critical because you have to be paying attention to teams that have a chance to go to the knockout round as well as teams that are eliminated um, and teams that have already made it. So they might not have to try as hard or play the reserves at some point. Um, Very exciting. I love the knockout round of Euros. But primarily, if you're new to this channel and you're just liking our content, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We always give out free predictions on YouTube for every one of our subscribers. If you're looking for Goran's best bets, head on over to pickdawgz.com under the premium picks tab. You'll find all of his daily releases. And for our bigger players, you guys asked for this something more unique, something more hands on, where Goran is going to release his games an hour before game time because a lot of times when we're putting a lot of money on these games, we're waiting until those lineups are set literally an hour before the actual game before we know what we're actually doing if we're putting a large spread on it. So if you're interested and you're interested in the Golden Boot VIP package, shoot me a text at 443-780-5663. The number's also on the screen. And just text the word goal. I will personally get you back. Now, this isn't a free promotion. This isn't a free package. This isn't for parlay betting. This is not for get out of one game bailout scenario. This is for our bigger players that want to win long term. Because when we're doing this VIP package, it's not short term, it's a minimum of a month commitment because we know that games lose, games win, but the only way to overcome it is to do it a month at a time and following our strict money management. Now, with all that being said, what's up, Goran? How are you doing today?
Yeah, it's been an entertaining Euro Cup so far. As we know, Copa America kicked off as well. There's a lot of games still left to be played. Like you said, the third and final round of group stages. There are a lot of teams that need something. There are a few teams that got knocked out already. But yeah, it's we are moving on to a group a day now, and they're all being played at the same time slot. It's either 12 p.m. or 3 p.m. Eastern time. So there's no shenanigans going on, let's call it like that, behind the scenes and stuff like that. But yeah, this Group A looks really interesting for Sunday, Costi. That's when we kick off the round three.
Awesome. So let's get started. The first one is Scotland and Hungary. Basically, one of these teams, Hungary, is also all already eliminated, um, but Scotland still has a chance. So, what do you see in this game as an early lean prediction?
Yeah, you know what? With that draw against Switzerland, Scotland gave themselves a chance of at least getting to that third place and maybe be one of the top four third place teams to get to the knockouts. But what they need out of this game is a win. But if I'm being honest, I don't think that they've showed that much more than Hungary for them to be uh, confident that they could get a win out of this game. Hungary is still a solid team. They had a bad tournament, yes, it happens. I mean, they could get the third place team to the third place with a win here, but I don't think it will matter much because there are more teams with 4 points rather than with 3 points. And I honestly think that Hungary is going home. But I think that we have to wait for the lineups for this one, Costi. The lines are plus 172 on Scotland, plus 152 on Hungary. So I think once we see the lineups, I know that Scotland lost a couple of players, but yeah, I think that about an hour before the game, that's when I'll know whether to bet on this game or not.
Got it. And then what about Switzerland and Germany? Obviously, Germany has looked like one of the best formed teams in this tournament, and obviously, you're basically potentially they're looking at it as a one seed here in the group. What do you see in this game?
Yeah, you know what? Like you said, Germany absolutely outstanding. Won the first game, won the second game 2-0, had a total control. The team that I would say of all the big teams that we have in the tournament, they looked absolutely the best. Solid defense, a lot of creation in that midfield. And even though people are saying they don't have a striker, I mean, why do you need a striker when you have six different goal scorers in the tournament so far? So Minus 139 on Germany. That seems a little bit trappy, but if I'm being honest, getting the top seed in the group definitely matters because they are going against that group where England is, and it's still unknown who's going to get the top seed in that one. So I think that both teams will go for the win here. Maybe not as hard as you might expect. Maybe not as hard as if this was the round one, but I think this one could be interesting and potentially the over 2.5 looks very appealing at minus 125 as well.
Awesome. And then and now in Group B, we have Albania against Spain. Now, Albania surprisingly is still in it. This is something where they're facing off against a Spain team that hasn't locked it up yet, but potentially looking really good with 6 points right now after the first two matches. What do you see this game? I know there's a pretty big goal line on this game, but as an early prediction, obviously this is a couple days away. What do you see in this one?
Yeah, you know what? Spain had so many chances against Italy the other day, and I was surprised they scored only one goal. They had like 10 shots on target and missed 5 or 6 great chances. But like you said, Albania is still in it. And I mean, the draw will most certainly not be enough for anything for them here, as Italy is in second place with 3 points. Spain, they have nothing left to play for really here. They will go to the knockouts, and I would assume from the top spot because they still haven't conceded a single goal in this tournament. But you know what? Albania has showed up a lot of fight. They never give up. Now, can they beat Spain, who will most likely be dominating the possession for the entire 90 minutes? I'm having a tough time believing that. I think they had a great tournament, but I think this is the end of the road for Albania. And I don't know. I'll have to wait for some line shift and stuff like that to get some value out of this game if I decide to bet it. And like we usually say, guys, you'll get that about an hour to half an hour before the game.
Yeah, and like Goran said, the VIP access, what you're talking about an hour before the game, we post the actual betting receipts that we're playing ourselves on a private message channel called Telegram, where we're delivering the games in real time all throughout the day. So you have a direct pulse to what we're doing. So again, it's really designed for bigger players. It's for long term, but if you really ride it with us long term, you're going to be very profitable. Now to the next matchup, the other game here in Group B, we have your Croatia team against Italy. Looks like Croatia, unfortunately, not the best turnout. I know you expected a little more from them, but they had a very tough draw here with Italy and Spain. Now they're facing off against an Italy team. Are they just going to show up and basically at least try to win a game here? I mean, I know they want to try, but are they going to have potential to actually get some 3 points here, even though they're probably not going to move against to the knockout stage?
I mean, they have a chance of getting the win here for sure because I keep saying that I'm not impressed with Italy. They did show more than Croatia in this tournament. There's no doubt about it. They've beaten Albania when they should have beaten them. They got the job done. Defensively, they were quite solid against Spain. They conceded only one goal, even they were against a lot of pressure. But Croatia can only blame themselves. I mean, they had a 2-1 lead against Albania in 83rd minute, and then all of a sudden, why are you attacking so much? You don't need to attack anymore. And then Albania goes on and creates 5 counterattacks in 5 minutes against Croatia. And of course, they tie the game. That's a lot of pressure to absorb. And let's be honest, Croatia hasn't been themselves defensively at all this tournament. So I think this is going to be a tight game. A lot of changes have already been announced in the Croatian lineup. There's possibly a formation change as well. So they will go for it. They have to go for it. They don't have to wait for anything. The draw was certainly not be enough for anything, and they would be going home with the draw or loss. So win is the only way Croatia could advance to the knockouts. Then again, Italia will not be just sitting back and waiting for them to attack. They will definitely try and score a goal here first if they can. They are plus 137 favorites to Croatia's plus 235. So maybe I'm kind of looking at right now at plus one on Croatia and stuff like that. But once again, once I see those lineups from both teams, that's when I'm making the most informed decision about this game.
And that's really the crucial part, Goran, is because when you see both the lineups and then you see the formations, that changes your perspective on who you're going to bet. A lot of times, literally an hour before. I mean, it's so hard mean, you could give an early lean days ahead of time, but until you know who's actually going to be the starting 11, and if they haven't won, the coach is going to make a lot of changes, and that could definitely change the outcome of the game drastically. So I'm sure you're really dialed into it almost every hour of the day, knowing that there's a lot of games starting and all these different tournaments, and you have to be on top of every single lineup decision.
Yeah, most definitely. Lineups do matter, and except maybe if you're Garrett Southgate, he doesn't change anything despite England
Nothing.
playing like crap. But you know what? Yeah, like you said, the lineups do matter, the formation does matter, and if the team is bad for 2 games, you have to make some changes,
Right.
and hopefully those changes will have a huge impact on the Croatian game, and hopefully they can get a win out of this one for me personally. But I will take my feelings out of it, and I will give you the best possible pick I can for you guys to make money on this game.
There you go. There you have it. Definitely, if you're a big player, definitely want to text that number and join and subscribe. It's not free. We put a lot of emphasis into it. We put a lot of work into it, but I can assure you, if you ride at least a minimum of a month, you're going to be very, very profitable. Now to the next matchup. This is now we're in Group C. Very interesting game here. Austria versus the Netherlands. Austria, that game was very, very exciting against Poland. They looked very, very spry. They look There's a lot of creativity for Austria. They played good defensively. They had a good counter. And now they face a Netherlands team that, was that disappointing? And there was a goal disallowed, where it was clearly an offsides in the France game. But this Netherlands team, not a lot of expectations in terms of winning the whole thing. No Frankie de Jong. A lot of guys up top are not as seasoned in the World Cup, even though they're really good in club ball. But surprisingly, right now, they're sitting on top of Group D. Um, so this is something that is going to be very interesting to see in this matchup because Austria definitely has an opportunity not only win the group, but obviously advance as well.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? Watching this Austrian team play against France in round one, where they got quite unlucky by conceding that own goal and then beating Poland. This is the team that doesn't stop. This is the team that will not be happy with the draw against the Netherlands. The draw might be enough for them to get to that third place and qualify as one of the best third place team. But like you said, it with a win here, they potentially have a chance to win this group, and that would be significant in a group with France and the Netherlands and Poland as well. Now, I have to say this. I was not impressed by the Netherlands. I think they lack a lot of output in the attacking end, despite all the great players they have. And for some reason, Ronald Koeman keeps forcing those, let's call them half striker players, when in fact on bench he has two great clean strikers who would probably suit more to their game at the moment. Now defensively they are solid. They are conceding very hard. They are defending really well, and Austria will need to be on top of their game. But like we said, this team does not stop, and the only way they know how to play properly is to attack and keep on high pressure. That is the style of Ralph Ragnick, who is their head coach. So honestly, potentially, I think there is a chance here for me to side with Austria on the line. +1, +1.5, whatever it's going to be set to. But once again, we'll have to wait and see how the lines shift and where we can get the most value out of this game.
Awesome. And then the other one in Group D is France against Poland. Obviously, Poland um, basically is in a very bad spot here, unless Austria loses. But then they have such a bad goal differential; it won't even matter, even if they have the same amount of points. So this team, obviously, they're in rebuilding mode. Lewandowski is basically comes in really late. This is his last hurrah on this national team. But France didn't play Mbappe last game. Wanted to give him some time to recover and practice in that new nose guard. Obviously, you saw without Mbappe, the creativity is not quite there. And they had a lot of opportunities. I mean, France had a lot of opportunities in that game, and Griezmann had about 3 or 4 of them that you normally see him put it away, and he just did not. But I think with Mbappe back, they'll be a lot more creative and facing a Poland team that is just not that good. Very interesting to see because France needs this win as well to be able to win this group.
Yeah, you know what? Like you said, Griezmann missed like four chances on his own in that game, and then you have I don't know who else. I think Conte had a great chance as well, and he was voted for the second time in a row to be the man of the match for the French game. Uh, but you know what? I did expect a lot more from this French offense. They scored only one goal so far this tournament. Yes, they kept the two clean sheets, but I don't think that you can get to the finals or even semifinals without being effective in that attack again. Sure, it's going to be a lot different when Mbappe is in the lineup, and he probably will be for this game because they need a win to get to that top spot. Uh, but like you said, Poland is done. Poland, if they win this game, it would need to be like 4 or 5 nil for them to get in the plus goal differential and then hope that Austria loses. But I don't see that happening. They had some decent look against Austria. They scored that one goal, but apart from that, they just don't have the depth or the quality, in my opinion. And simply, this tournament is done for them. So we'd have to lead to France here. But with the lines being set as they are, minus 161 on the over 2.5, I'm definitely not willing to put my money on the over when France is playing right now.
There we go. And now we're back to Group C. Interesting match as well because all four teams are alive heading into the third match of group play and the final match. Denmark against Serbia. Serbia sitting with 1 point, but if England takes care of Slovenia and Serbia gets a win, they have a potential to actually, in beating Denmark, will be in that second spot. So they're not out of it as well. Very interesting matchup. What do you see here?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of a math involved in this group, Costi. Like you said, with the draw, I would assume Denmark. I mean, you can't really assume anything in this tournament, but the draw might get them to that second place. Although we'll see what Slovenia can do against England. We talked about this English team. We know that they have been so sloppy, and I don't know. They score a goal, they get ahead, and then they decide to sit back for some reason instead of going on and finishing their opponents with another goal or two. They are at the top of this group right now. I'm sure they would like to win this group because they are going against that Group A where Germany is. So avoiding Germany in the first round of knockouts would be their imperative. As much as I would like for Slovenia to do something, I don't see it. But in this game, I think Serbia was solid against Slovenia. I think they had a decent amount of chances. But I think that the experience that Denmark has will be crucial in this game. And at plus 120 on the money line on Denmark, it's very appealing to me. But then again, the draw also at plus 260 looks very interesting to me, if I'm being honest. 1-1 draw just screams in my head at the moment. But we'll have to wait and see what's happening with the rosters, who got hurt, who's playing, who's out, and stuff like that. But like I said, early leads are slightly towards Denmark, but the draw, like I said, screams in my head.
There you have it. And then the other game here that's going to be simultaneous is going to be England, Slovenia. I mean, England, as they're sitting on top of that Group C with 4 points, but this team just looks flat. There's just no creativity. There's nobody that's flashy that could actually, take defenders down the side. I mean, they're just very boring. It feels like they just don't have it clicking. They don't have the right 11 out there at any point in the first two games. I just don't like what I'm seeing from this English team, especially into the knockout stages. I mean, when they face somebody of real, caliber here, they're going to definitely be in a lot of trouble unless they fix things quick. But going against a Slovenia team that I think is going to play them tight as well. They've had two draws here. They haven't lost. They've scored two goals and they've given up two goals. So they're playing good football here. It's very interesting to see what's going to happen here because England can basically, with a draw, definitely get out of the group stage into the knockout round.
Yeah, most definitely. And if this was the matchup at the first round of the Euro Cup, England would be minus 600 favorites here. Now they're minus 256 against Slovenia. That's something that the books wouldn't even consider in the past. And I do understand why, because let's be honest, England hasn't shown anything. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the exactly same starting lineup as they had in the first two games. Now, you have Cole Palmer on the bench, who's been competing with Haaland in the EPL for the Golden Boot this season. You have a bunch of other players who've been carrying their teams, and none of them got a minute in this tournament yet. Now, if you can't score goals, if you're dropping points, your first thought as the head coach would supposed to be, okay, maybe it's time to change something. And Gareth Southgate is not doing that at all. For any other coach, having a roster like this would mean at least one major trophy, either the World Cup or the Euro Cup. But I don't know. We clearly cannot rely on taking England on -1.5 because they just look very sad when they are on the pitch. Over 2.5 as well. I just don't have the willpower or the courage to take it in this game that England is playing. So I don't know. Maybe Slovenia +2.5 or whatever the line is going to be set, especially because they need a win out of this game. At least the draw would be very honorable thing for them. But as of right now, I'm so skittish about this game that I can't tell you what, even where I'm leading to.
There you have it. And then now we go to Group E. We have Slovakia against Ukraine. Ukraine definitely late in the
Slovakia
game, even
against
though
Romania. Sorry, just to correct you. Slovakia against Romania.
Slovakia against Romania, yes. Um, so Slovakia against Romania. I mean, right now Slovakia has played as we're recording this video, has played all is going to be playing today, and obviously Romania is still waiting to finish. They don't have the update yet because they're playing today as well. So what do you see in this matchup with Slovakia Romania?
Uh, you know what? Slovakia had a great game. Well, they had a great first half against Ukraine, but then they basically disappeared and they ended up losing that game 2-1. So Ukraine bounced back nicely. But Slovakia, I think this is going to be a hard game for them. Sure, it's going to depend a lot on how Romania does against Belgium because they're playing as we're recording this video. But I think this is going to be a tight game. And if as you can see the odds, guys, Slovakia +215, Romania +235, and then the draw at +145. Now, usually the draw is around +210, +220. Now we are getting it at +145. The books are expecting the draw. Honestly, I would not be surprised by it at all. Nil-nil draw, maybe 1-1 if we are lucky to see some goals in this one, but the over 2.5 is at +160. So if you have like half a unit to spare or something like that, just throw it to the over 2.5. It could be a crucial game for these two teams to advance to the knockouts. But like we said, Romania is yet to play their second game of the tournament, so we'll have to wait on that as well.
There you have it. And then moving forward here, um, we're going to Ukraine versus Belgium. Obviously, Belgium has yet to play here in this one, and then Ukraine has already played both their games. Ukraine is at this point, sitting on top as in second place in that division, but obviously Belgium yet to play could definitely advance. It's going to be interesting, but love the matchup here. Ukraine and Belgium. Ukraine is rebounded from the first game that they lost. And, for Belgium still has a lot of firepower. This might be their last hurrah. I know this very early to tell who's going to win this game without watching the second, obviously, match that's going to be happening today for Belgium. But what do you think in this one early on?
Yeah, you know what? I gotta say, kudos to Ukraine. They really rallied against Slovakia. They got behind early in the game. I think it was like fourth minute or something like that, and then they scored two goals. They got a nice win. They gave themselves a chance of getting potentially to the knockouts. And I mean, it's against Belgium this game, and it's gonna be a hard game, right? Because Belgium they are creating a lot of chances. It will matter a lot how Belgium does in that game against Romania as we are recording this video. But I mean, I wouldn't be rule it. I wouldn't rule it out for Ukraine to do something in this game. They definitely have the quality. They're flying pretty high right now. Their morale is pretty good right now after that win. So +420 underdogs Ukraine is in this game, which means that the line will probably be set to maybe +2, 2.25 or something like that, which Could definitely be worth a look, but once again, we'll get to this game as Belgium finishes their game against Romania.
Got it. And then in the final group stage F, we have the Czech Republic, Chesnia against Turkey. Right now, Turkey is losing to Portugal as we record this video live. But Czech Republic only has one draw, one loss, hasn't had a win in this tournament, -1 in goal differential. So, yes, they still have a shot to get out of the group stage. If the game finishes right now and Portugal wins against Turkey, then the Czech Republic still has a shot if they beat Turkey to get out of the group stage. So what do you think early on? Obviously, if Portugal finishes this one out.
Yeah, you know what? I was watching that game that Czechia played against Georgia earlier today, and I was pulling my hair out, if I'm being honest. They had 11 shots on target. They had 26 shots in total, and they barely scored that one goal. Almost lost the game in the end because Georgia had a huge counter attack, and they put it over the net. Fortunately for Czechia here, but do they have the quality to beat Turkey? I absolutely think they do because they can create a lot of chances. They are a very solid team that likes to put up a fight. And if Turkey ends up losing against Portugal, which they are at the moment, like you said, I honestly would not be surprised if Czech Republic gets through here. They're plus 215 underdogs, and I wouldn't shy away by putting some money on them to get a win here. I think that Turkey would be shaken up after that loss to Portugal if they suffered a loss. But yeah, this is the game where we simply have to wait and see how the other games play out.
You got it. And then finally, in the last matchup here, um, Portugal against Georgia. It looks to be the case at this point that Portugal will need a draw in this game if it ends. If this game ends in a win for Portugal, then all they need is a draw in that game against Georgia to be able to move on as the number one seed coming out of that group. So I know it's going to be a pretty heavy goal line here. You know, Georgia's only had one draw and one loss. They haven't even had a win in this tournament yet. I think it's going to be tough for them to get one. I think Portugal's finally figuring it out how to play with Ronaldo, how to play off of him. He doesn't need to touch the ball nearly as much. They have a lot of playmakers around him that he takes on the defense, and you have to mark him very well. But all these other guys are just as good. So this Portugal team is very, very dangerous and could be definitely a big contender here once they get to the elimination rounds.
Yeah, like you said, unfortunately for Georgia, they're catching Portugal now on the upward kind of a trajectory when they are heating up, when they are creating a lot more chances, scoring a lot of goals. And this is going to be a tough game for Georgia. They got their first point at the major competitions against Czech Republic, almost got a win, unfortunately for them. But they're plus 1,300 underdogs here, while Portugal is minus 417 on the money line. Which I definitely understand why, but that only means that if we want to bet on Portugal, we have to take them at minus two and a half, whatever the line is going to be set, to get something out of it. And then you have to question the fact, do they really need to push for the win here? Do they really need to put Ronaldo in the starting lineup? Do they really need to put all the other players in the starting lineup? If they beat Turkey, I think we can expect a bit of a shuffled lineup from Portugal here. Is that going to be enough for Georgia to cover the spread or maybe get to the score sheet and stuff like that? We'll see, but I think that they can be very happy with the tournament they had so far. And if they get knocked out, I think that they can go home proud.
Well, there you have it. This is the third and final round of group stages. We'll obviously be back for the knockout round with another video release. But as I said before, if you're somebody that's a small player and you're just trying to get Goran's best bets, go to Premium Picks under the pickdawgz.com website and find Goran and buy his daily picks. But if you're somebody that's a bigger player and you want our big plays, you want our rated games, and if you're serious about treating it like a business long term, shoot us a text to the number that you see on the screen, and also just text the word goal, and I will personally call you back. So, Goran, thank you again for round three of the final matches of group play before we get to the knockout rounds. Great explanation of all the different games that we have forecasted here in the next few days. So, with all that being said, Goran, thank you again for another wonderful video and wonderful explanation of these games.
you for having me here, Costi. And of course, like we say, guys, there's Copa America going on. There's a bunch of MLS games on the Saturday. Stay tuned, of course. And hey, let us help you win some money, guys. And let's have a great day.